Hi, this is Andy Wallace with zInspector, and zInspector by default has great photo inspection mode with video inspection, move in, move out reports, as well as a complete property inspection. But often you need a more simple document where you're really looking to just do kind of a very specific function. Could be a vacancy checkup, it could be an annual inspection, or some other type of document where you're really just trying to look for a few key items, but you still want a paperless process. Now, so I'm going to go through an example here of an HOA violation document, but really think of this as more just rather than just HOA violation. It's really any general document, and many are like this where you've got basically some type of kind of legal disclaimer text, informational text here at the beginning. Of course, you're going to have your company header information up there at the top, and then in the middle you're often going to have your various actual inspection questions. So whether it's a checklist or there's a select field where you can pick from different options, and then usually some type of comments field where your user can type or do talk to text or something like that to get comments into these boxes. And then you are going to typically have some type of additional text here at the end. Maybe it's additional legal disclaimer text. It's a visual inspection only, or whatever that is appropriate for your situation. So we're going to take this example as just a very simple document and go through example of how you convert this into zInspector. And one question we get asked, well, why don't you just take this document and just add it in there? Well, what we try and do is that you have to put this into zInspector with the fields, insert the fields with a document editor that we've created. Why do we do that? Well, then we end up with a document that is much easier for your users to actually fill out on a cell phone. And the goal is not to carry a giant piece of paper around, but we want to convert all this into fields, into formatting that is easier for your users to use. And so there's various things we're going to do that. Now, I've got a kind of just a little overview slide in PowerPoint here of just kind of some of the things to think about when you are actually setting up a document. And so these custom documents, you can really generate any presentable document report with formatting, images, tables, everything like that. But we're going to take it into a format and then make it easily to be filled out, just the key items that you actually want to fill out on the mobile phone, and then generate the complete document that you can then email out or put to Dropbox or Google Drive. Now, the step one is to actually develop your document or process. And so often we see new users, well, they just try and go in here and just create a process. Really, you want to create your document first. What is the document or process you need from your company point of view? Put it in a Word or Excel or just pen and paper, or put it on the whiteboard, some other way where you're documenting what are clearly the things that your agents or employees you want them to be checking and looking at in the field. Okay, and then you might kind of highlight where there's going to be some instructions or other things to kind of give your field users some tips. All right, so once you've got that document kind of created, that process created, we're going to review the document, and we're going to basically separate it into three different things. And one of them are the fields, and that's the actual things that you want your user to fill out. And that's anything from a text box to a paragraph box, to take a picture, to do a signature. There's a select option where you can select from different options. There's a checkbox, and there's a number of other different fields that we support in zInspector. Now you're also going to have just instructions, so you can put in there, a few lines of text and say, "Hey, reminder, be sure you take a picture of the front of the house." Or at the end of the report, "Hey, reminder, did you lock both the top and bottom locks?" Something that is just going to be in there for the field agent to look like. Easy as part of the process on their mobile phone, but it's not going to actually show up on the document. Okay, And then lastly, all the document text formatting and legal language. So you might, in this document, there might be a number of things around it that you need as part of the final document, but those really aren't the specific fields that are going to get filled out by the inspector. That's just going to be part of the formal document there at the end. So you really now have to think about your document into these 3 different categories. All right, so let's go back and look at this document. So I've got here this HOA violation document, and now what I'm going to do is pull up the zInspector website. Okay, so this is going to take you to our default timeline view, and what I'm going to do to go to the document editor is go to Advanced and then Docs. Okay, and here is going to bring me up to my various completed documents. And so this is, one of the nice things. In addition to these documents showing up, an icon of these will show up in timeline here. So as your completed documents, they will show up there. You also get a nice Excel view of all your different documents. It's all searchable. So you can say, show me everything for, 01, or show me everything on Apple Street, or whatever that may be. Okay, and then you can also look for some other completed documents. All right, so that's what this is going to look like at the end. And now, in order to create this, we're going to click on Document Templates. And here are active templates that are currently available on the mobile device. You can have inactive templates or old templates. You can have drafts, so ones that you're working on, that you're editing and changing and manipulating, but not quite ready for your users to use in the field. Okay, now one thing you can do, you can look at these documents like the Sacramento one, and I can preview it. And if this is something that is going to work, or it's kind of a similar format to what you might want to use for different document, I could simply do something like this, where I just say New Draft, and here is this document. Oops, excuse me. I'm going to just go right back here. So I clicked the wrong one. So I'm going to say Sacramento Interior Inspection and say New Draft. Okay, so I can look at this document and say, yep, this is basically the document that I'm looking for. And I could just change this name to HOA violation and hit publish. And now I could use that document, and I've got a new document on my account. It's now available on all my mobile apps. Now, for this video, though, I'm going to actually make this document from scratch. So I'm going to make this one inactive, and I'm going to go ahead and create a new one. And so I'm going to New Template, and I'm going to type in HOA violation. Now, the header information at the very top, that's going to be defined by default by all your documents, and it's going to be defined by the parameters under the Customize tab, where you can upload your logo, your company contact information, things like that. So that's going to define your company header, and so then that's there. And then we can get right into the documents. I've got the document title, and I'm going to put in here the property address. Okay, and in zInspector, you're often going to want to put in the property name, which is really the kind of the shortened version of the property, and the property address, which is your complete address with city, state, and zip code. And then I'm going to go ahead and just put the date down here, and I'm going to add the date. So what's nice about what this can do for us, and it's kind of hard to tell here at this point, but once we get to the mobile app, all we're going to have to do is pick the property, and it's going to automatically fill in these parameters for you. These are all our system parameters. It's just going to grab them all for you. Okay, now I want to start and add some of this text here, which is basically some general information from the HOA. It's kind of describing the violation. And I've got some additional text here, so I'm going to have this text. And that one is centered, so I'm going to select it and center it. Okay, and this one I'm going to select and left justified. Okay, so I fixed that. All right, so now we get right into a table. Now I'm going to go ahead and add an instruction here, and I want to just make sure and set a reminder and say, hey, to make sure they completely fill out the comments field. So I'm going to say, reminder, completely fill out the comments fields. Okay, so that's going to first show up as text on the mobile app as kind of instruction. All right, now we're getting into this table. And so these are the table of values. And so what we need here is a checkbox, and then we have some text here, and then we've got a comments box. Now, what I'm going to do is actually create a table here, and I would recommend you use tables as much as you can. That's really going to keep things all aligned. And so I'm going to here click on this and say, just click on that. I know I have a 8-row table and 2 columns. Now, I want the border size. If you want actual line, then you could put your border here. Or if you have header rows, then you could put that there. Those are kind of the two very common ones you end up using. Here I'm just going to actually say border size 0, so this will get me my alignment, even though that table won't actually show up on my final document. Okay, now what I'm going to want to do is put in a checkbox. And so another word that we use for a checkbox, and here I can actually select this and drag this window down a little bit. Sorry, select it, drag that window down. There we go. All right, and I'm going to close this one, and I'm going to go to my custom ones, and I'm going to look for the Boolean checkbox. And so my first item right here is deck, fence, shed. So I'm going to tap here, and I'm going to say deck, fence, shed. All right, so what does this do? All of this, oops, sorry, I went for the select field, which gives you different options like satisfactory, unsatisfactory, and I want to do that. So you are going to use that option frequently, but I'm going to do this checkbox one here and get it just like this. Okay, so what's this going to do for me? This is going to give the user on the mobile app a checkbox, and it's going to say on it, deck, field, fence, shed. You could put in here any text you wanted, and when it's true, it's going to be checked, and then when it's false, it'll be unchecked. Now, this true and false is just text that shows up next to the checkbox to kind of facilitate and help your user. So I can actually change this, and I'm going to say if it's true, so if I've checked it, I've got a violation. And if it's false, that means I haven't checked it, then there's no violation. Okay, so all of this is really just for the checkbox, but it's giving you a lot of control to really make it so that your users in the field have exactly what you want them to see. But then I still need text. This is just the text that's going to show up on the final document. And so that is this here, deck, fence, shed. Okay, and now I'm actually going to, it's hard to see, but there's actually another column here. So I'm going to click in that column, and there I'm going to insert a paragraph field called deck, fence, shed. And that's going to give a paragraph field to fill out on the mobile app. So I've got a checkbox, I've got some text. So all of this here represents a checkbox. All of this right here represents just text to show up on the table. And all of this is just going to be a paragraph field for the agent to fill out. Now what I can do now is I can actually just, since I've got this format, I can copy it. Okay. And then I can do the same thing here and copy this one. Now I find I actually like to put a little space right in there. It sometimes looks a little bit better. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. Okay, so now all these say deck, fence, shed. So I'm going to change this now and say doors, windows, and screens. Okay, and I'm going to copy that doors, windows, screen text, and I'm going to take it and put it there, and I'm going to take it, putting it here. And you're like, oh, why do I have to copy this text 3 times? Well, often you don't want this text to be exactly the same. So by doing this, we give you a lot of options to do it exactly how you're going to want it for your company. Now, so I'm just going to do these first 3 rows. And if you are getting bogged down with this as all and you need any help at all, we are happy to help you out, happy to look at your document. Feel free to take a look at it, and sometimes we do custom work for people to help them implement their processes. But this is just kind of an example one. So now I'm going to have 3 different Boolean fields and 3 different paragraphs. Okay, so I'm not going to fill out the rest of the table here, but you kind of get the idea. Then here they actually have a second violation. Said this violation must be corrected within 48 hours. Okay, and I can bold that text, and then I can underline this text. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and copy this row, and I'll say copy and paste. I think that is actually a little bit of a glitch. I have to do a copy like that. And there might be a more efficient way to do it, but I'm going to do that. Okay, so I know there is a way to do that, but since I'm not having luck here at the moment, I'm just going to say insert. It's going to be 1 row and 2 columns. Okay, now here you can see I did not do the border, and you can see what that looks like. It's going to be an actual border. I could do a right click, I can hit table properties, and I can change the border size. So that's now not going to show up. And I can take this one here, copy it here. Okay, and I can take my paragraph field and copy it. So, all right, so now what do we get? Okay, so let's go ahead and change this and say trash cans. And then here, trash cans not stored properly. So on the mobile app checkbox, just going to say trash cans, but on the actual report, it'll say trash cans not stored properly. And I could put under here trash can storage. So the idea is that all 3 of those could be different if you wanted them. All right, so that's basically, now we've got these 2 mini tables, and I want this text down below. Okay, and what you're typically going to do is something like this, where you're going to put your inspector's name. And so you're going to have different people in the field filling these documents out, especially if you have different employees. So I'm just going to add the inspector's name. So that's going to be right there, sincerely the inspector's name. And I want to add their signature. And so I can go to the very last one, so signature photo fields. And I can go into force signature and say inspector. And add. Okay, so now I've got a nice letter, a nice table, but probably the most important thing I left out is the photo field. So I'm going with zInspector. Y'all got to have always have that photo. So I'm going to say HOA violation. Now, what are the difference between these two? Is that this field here just allows you to quickly take pictures from within a document, and this one, it takes you more to the more standard photo inspection screen that allows you to take videos, do drawings on your photos, and do a little bit more with them if you want them. So it just depends on your purpose, which one of these 2 take picture categories you're going to want to use, take picture fields you're going to want to use. Okay, so I've got this document. I think this looks pretty good, and I'm going to hit save, and then I'm just going to go ahead and hit publish. Okay, so HOA violation. Now I have version 6 here, even though I just created this version from scratch, because I had old inactive templates in here that were already called HOA violation. It's going to automatically do a version control on it, and so I'm going to have this new version here. Okay, and that's what I'm going to be inspecting against. Okay, so on my mobile app, I've got I'm going to by default, every time you turn on the mobile app, you're going to get new mobile apps. All your new documents synchronized, as well as every 60 minutes. But I'm just going to make sure we get the latest and greatest document templates on there. So I hit synced. So now that's there. Okay, now so to fill out these custom documents, what I can do is just go to Docs and say New Document. I'm going to select my property. I can pick any of these units. Again, it's all searchable, and say, let's say it's 123 or 1878 Park Avenue. Let's do that. Select the document, HOA violation, and continue. And here it is. I can look at this, and you can see I can fill this in: deck, fence, violation or no violation. So if I tap it, it'll say violation. Okay. All right, and I could say landscaping. Okay. And I could say not being watered or maintained. And that's going to be the primarily violation. Clearly, you could have other ones if you wanted to do that. Okay, trash cans still outside. Okay, and now I can take pictures. So I'm going to take pictures, and that's me. Okay, and that counter is just for my emulator here on my computer. It's not on your actual mobile app, but I can take a couple pictures there. Okay, and now I hit continue. And when on your actual mobile app, whether it's a phone or website or a tablet, you're going to get a nice document that you can kind of zoom in and out of with 2 fingers. Can't do that on the emulator. It's just one thing that's not supported. And then I did add that for signature field. And so the inspector can sign it and hit continue. And now you're going to get automatically a document in your email per your standard rules that you set up. But if you wanted to send a copy to the tenant, then you could add in a another email address, or even multiple if you separated them with a comma. So I could do something like that. Okay, now those addresses will get the reports here as well. The include pictures is we don't always include the pictures by default, because you can choose to include them or not. You can actually have jobs where you have multiple documents in the same job, so you may or may not want the pictures. But of course, you can always go back in zInspector and rerun your reports. All right, so let's go to hit final. And at this point, that document has been submitted. Okay, and now it's all been uploaded. Let's go see what it looks like on timeline. Okay, and sure enough, here it is, 1878 Park Avenue, HOA violation. And when I tap on this document, okay, I'm going to get this view here. If there was multiple things that matched, they'd all come up here. If I type the original, it's going to download the original PDF. If I do this, it's going to download it with the pictures. This will email me a copy also. I've already had a copy in my email. You saw the alert that popped up. You can actually get in here and edit these fields as well. You can actually kick out the fields into Excel. So depending on your functionality and what you're trying to do, if you're doing like a property inventory, you could do something like that here as well. All right, so now I'm going to click on this PDF and I get a PDF. Okay, and again, your actual option is going to have more. You can of course change this formatting up. You can do with it what you want. Maybe you're looking at I want this table. I really want it to have my border. I can go back in the table, add the border. So this is the basics of how you can create a simple document. You see here there's no logo. To upload your logo, you go to Document Templates and Customize, and you upload your logo there. All right, so that's the basics of how to create a simple document. Once you have that created, it's really easy to go in here and hit Document Templates, hit New Draft, get in here, make changes, make options. I'm going to just go in here to say Table Properties, and I'm going to change my border size now and say 1, and there it is, and I'll publish that. And now that is my new document. And that's how fast you can update your entire company for having your paperless process. If you need any help at all, just feel free to contact us at support@zInspector.com. We look forward to helping you out. Take care. Bye.